Hey gang, today we are learning La Vie en Rose, made popular in 1956 by Edith Piaf, okay? First thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about the chords on this. I'll turn the metronome off for a minute. I'm going to challenge you. All of these chords are what I refer to as my inversions, okay? And you know by watching my videos by now what that means. I'm going to challenge you to try to keep your pointer finger on your bass string at all times when playing all of the chords for this song. Let your middle finger and your ring finger battle it out for whether they're doing this or this, okay? Or sometimes that, all right? But try to keep your pointer finger on your bass string. Now, if this seems like there's too much of a stretch, because you will go all the way up from a 7, 5, and a 4 at the very end. If that seems like too much of a stretch for those three fingers, you can use your pinky and your ring finger. So the challenge would be to keep your pointer on the bass, your ring finger on the middle string, and your pinky on the melody string, like that. And your middle finger is going to be out of use the whole time. You're just going to be relying on those three fingers. Now let me tell you what happens whenever I use my pinky. I start to get like pinky fatigue and things start cramping up after a while. So you might see me switch back and forth a little bit, okay? But that's your challenge. These chords should all be easily attainable by keeping your pointer finger on that bass string and letting your other fingers battle it out for the other frets, okay? Now I'm going to play this song for you, and it's got three parts that I've written. I've written a chord strumming part. That's one person's part. Nothing but the chords, but the chords are really pretty, okay? I went to great effort to make them sound really cool with this tablature. You can always play the chords any way you want to play them, but if you play them my suggested way, it's sort of an added bonus. It sounds really cool. So the chord player, here's what their job would be. They're going to play the first page where it says La Vie en Rose. You're going to play that page twice, okay? That's your job. Now, if you are Dulcimer One, your job is also to play the tablature on the page 1. Play that tablature twice. That's Dulcimer One's part, okay? When you get down to the very bottom where it says Fine down there, the first time you do it, you're going to hit that whole note 1, 2, 3, 4, and go right back up to top. Okay? Now, if you're Dulcimer Two, you're going to play the first page note for note, right along with Dulcimer One. When you get to the bottom of the first page, you'll see a note there. It says Dulcimer Two skips the last whole note measure and begins here, and there's an arrow right there, okay? So if you were Dulcimer Two, you're going to get to the last line on page 1, and it'll sound like this. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and... Okay? So you skip that last measure and jump to where the arrow is, and go right on over to the second page. All right, I'm going to play the chord part for you, and I'm going to play it twice so that you can play either one of these parts along with it. Here we go. I better check my tuning real quick because my Dulcimer has been out, packed up and repacked and bounced around a little bit. There we go. We're still in good tuning. Okay, here are the chords. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, right, that's your chord part. All right, and my fingers get pretty stiff when I'm playing that, so make sure you stretch them out before you play that part. Okay, now I'm going to play Dulcimer One. Dulcimer One is the first page only. You're going to play the whole first page. When you get down to the very end where the repeat sign is, that's a whole note. You hold it for 4 beats. 2, 3, 4, and then you jump right back up and do it all again. And when it's all said and done, you end on the fine, you hit that note and just let it ring out. Now, I'll remind you, when you are done at the very end of this song, you hit that note and let it ring out. Dulcimer Two's got 2 more measures after you. They're going to go ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-bum, like that, okay? Hit that last note, just let him ring. I suppose you could turn that into a whole D chord if you want, like that at the very end of the song. Okay, you've got to watch out for your syncopation here. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Okay, so watch out for the syncopation. Let's take it again from the top. 4 and 1 and 2 and... I've got the metronome set on, if I didn't tell you already, I've got it way down there at 58. I like the way this sounds nice and slow. Okay, here's the first dulcimer part, Dulcimer One. You're going to play page 1 twice. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's take a look at the second part. Dulcimer One just played the first part twice, the first page twice. Dulcimer Two is going to play note for note, the same thing that Dulcimer One plays, together with them the first time through. Then Dulcimer Two goes on and adds a harmony with some little counter melody stuff going on. Now, the only trouble I see over here, famous last words, because I might mess something else up that I'm not remembering, but if you go all the way down there where it says retard, second to the last line, and while I'm at it, when you're playing this as a group without the metronome keeping your steady time, do take a retard there. So, da 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 ba da da. all three parts should kind of be heads up, watching each other, and do a little ba-da-bum, very dramatic, little slowly, little retard there, and then pick it back up. Okay, but Dulcimer 2, page 2, second to the last line where the retard is. You've got some chords, 2 chord shapes that we don't play that often. So you want to practice that a little bit. Now, the hardest part about that will be going from that 2 down to the 4-2-4. Once you got your 4-2-4, whatever you've got on the 4s, just take them down to the 3s, and you're home safe. Okay. The other trouble spot in here, one of my students, Mo, has brought to my attention a little while ago, is when you go on line 4. Line 4, the very last chord is a 7-6-5. You're going to go from that 7-6-5 immediately to the 3-1, okay? And that's another spot that you would want to practice over and over again. Getting from that 7-6-5 to the 3-1-1, back and forth. Okay, now when you practice it over and over again, make sure you're using the same fingers that you're going to use when you're playing the song. If you practice it over and over again using certain fingers, and then when you actually play the song, you change your fingering, all that practicing is for naught, okay? Remember that. All right, I'm going to attempt to play the Dulcimer 2 part, which means I'm going to play all of page 1. I'm going to not play that very last measure where the fine is, and I'm going to jump to where the arrow is and play the second page. Fingers crossed, thumbs up, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Arrow. By golly, I think I made it. All right. Now, when you put those 3 parts together, if you get a couple of friends together, or a whole group and you divide up in parts, that's going to sound really, really pretty. Okay? I hope you enjoy my arrangement of this. I'm certainly liking it. Have a good time with this one, and let me know if you have any questions, okay? Thanks so much for joining me.